It was a time I test drove a car and I took it right up there to AutoZone. Y'all not finna trick me and be hiding codes and stuff like that and it's gonna appear again after I bought a car. Now, earlier this year, I had been car shopping for a minute and I had seen this pretty blue car that had been sitting on the lot. And so I decided to go look at it. And the lady, when I got there, the car salesman, she asked me if I wanted to test drive it. I said, hell, why not? I gave her my ID and she gave me the keys. I got in the car. I said, why the seats cut up like that? I looked at my sister. I said, it looked like they let a fucking feral monkey back here. My sister said it got slices and dices in it. I said, like a Nightmare on Elm Street. I said, I'm going to still test drive it, though. Some seat covers and stuff and fit stuff like that up. The car salesman said, I'll leave you to it. I said, oh, damn. She was still standing right there. I got in the car and closed the door. I said, who been eating the buttons off the radio? But as I'm driving, I'm noticing it's squeaking coming from the back. Like, not the back seat, but it sounded like it was coming from the trunk. I said, it sounded like they got rats back there or something. They got some rats in the trunk. And then I remember I'm driving, I switch lanes, I get into the left lane, and the car started pulling me so hard, I'm back in the right lane. So I pulled into the AutoZone. I said, hook me up. I need a full diagnostic. And so the man, he hooked it up, and he went back, and he printed out the paper. He said, damn. I said, damn what? Let me see. He gave me the paper. I said, damn. I said, so they trying to play with me. I looked at the employee. I said, this a damn fool, ain't it? He said, I wouldn't buy it. I said, I know that's all right. I'm finna go up here and show them this shit. And I started to walk out. He said, ma'am. I said, huh? He said, can you leave me a review? Our store having a competition. I said, fuck it, yeah. Wait, let me get home first. I pulled back into the car lot and the car salesman goes, so what do you think? I said, I think you can take these keys and give my ID back. I don't know if I'm test driving or making sure it's safe to drive in general. Then this girl behind me, she go, I ain't trying to be nosy, I promise you, but you talking about the cars here because I had my mama come pick me back up. I said, you better call it in, girl, and have it turn on back around and come get you. I said, I took it up there to the AutoZone. Look at all these codes, girl. All I saw was peas. I said, then I tried to turn the radio up. The car turned it back down. I put it on everything. The car salesman said, Miss Jackson, let's take this in the office. I said, I'm talking to her right now. Then I told the girl, I said, and then I switched over to the left lane. Before I knew it, the car had me back in the right. The car almost drove me into the damn Waffle House sign. I said, then wait till you see the inside of the car. It looked like they motherfucking got it off Freddy Krueger Marketplace. The seats all cut open and busted open and shit. I ran the VIN on Carfax. They talking about some 5 accidents. I'm just reading off the codes in the lobby. I said, then I checked the dipstick. It's dry and it's black. Need a new suspension. It's squeaking. The car need new brake pads, new rotors, and the paper don't say that, but I still feel like it needs some. Windshield wiper ain't got no fluid. Car salesman said, Miss Jackson, let me pull you in my office so we can talk about it. I said, y'all keep on trying to take me back there so y'all can manipulate me. I'm not buying it.